But here I am back again on JD's Garage's CNC plasma table. What I've done is I've gone ahead and started taking the table apart because it needs to be painted and has some other protective coating put on it, which I'll get to a little bit later. Bob here, Chopper Bob Customs. Welcome back to the channel. Thanks you for subscribing if you're a subscriber. If you're not a subscriber, hey, get on the stick and get subscribed to this channel. Thank you for watching. I do appreciate you if you would like the videos. And leave a comment. Let me know what you're thinking. And hit that notification bell, because hopefully I'm going to be back to doing this on a little bit more regular basis. If you've been following along on Martin's 57 Chevy, you know that I got into a losing argument with a wheel of death on an angle grinder and severed the tendon in this thumb. And the recovery's taken a little bit longer than I had hoped. And I did spend most of my time getting Martin's car done and out of here. And so it is gone. He is driving it. First day he put 100 miles on it, so that's good news. He's enjoying it, and but the thing about it is making these videos, shooting them in the shop, and then the post-production work to get them in a state where they can be seen on my YouTube channel here takes some time. And so I kind of backed away from that a little bit. I also backed away from working on my other projects because I got so far behind on Martin's car. I wanted to get it done for him. So, but here I am back again on JD's Garage's CNC plasma table. What I've done is I've gone ahead and started taking the table apart because it needs to be painted and has some other protective coating put on it, which I'll get to a little bit later. But one of the first things I need to do, and with the weather rolling in, I don't think I'm going to do this on all the parts. I think I'm only going to do it on the parts where the bearings roll on the surfaces, maybe a few other parts. But the thing that you have to do is when you're painting and preparing stuff like this is you need to remove the mill scale. That gray coating that basically it's an iron oxide coating that happens during the hot finishing process. And it does a pretty good job of protecting the material from rust, but it's a little bit of a rough surface and it will come off, and then that leads to rusting. So what we need to do is we need to get a good coat of paint on it. And you really should paint over mill scale on the legs and possibly the cross beams. I probably am. I'll probably run over it with either a red Scotch-Brite or the DA with some grits of paper on it, and then paint it. Because the truth of the matter is the structure of this thing is probably going to get beat up with use and scratched up. I'm probably going to be touching it up all the time anyway, so the rest of these parts aren't all that important. But like I said, the two members where the trolleys, if you will, with the bearings in them roll along it, those need to be smooth. And I didn't want to use a mechanical removal process because I didn't want it to get lumpy or have troughs that I burn into it with whatever abrasive I'm using to take it off. Because you can remove mill scale abrasively. Mechanically, you can use a sandblaster. You can use a DA, which is very time consuming. You can use a grinder, which is fast, but it does tend to put whoop-de-doos in it. And then these surface restorers, the drum of fiber abrasive is one way to remove it. But here again, all of those things have their drawbacks. Of course, this method has its drawbacks as well. I'm going to chemically remove the mill scale. Now, you can use muriatic acid, which is very, very quick. This would take probably about 10-15 minutes once you have it in the muriatic acid before it's got all the mill scale loosened up and it's cleaned up. The biggest problem with muriatic acid is it's kind of aggressive, which is why you get done in 15 minutes. It's hard on your lungs, so you should wear a respirator. The fumes are hard on your eyes, so where I'm wearing, shoot, I don't have my safety glasses on. I'll need to get this on later on today. But you really need to have eye protection that will keep the fumes out, because they will irritate your eyes, just the fumes. And if you have metal in your shop, steel, iron products, the fumes will escape and cause them to rust. So what I've elected to do is go with vinegar. It takes longer. Everything I've read says this would probably take 10 hours, probably in warm weather. I'm not in warm weather, and the rule of 10 degrees applies to this because it is a chemical reaction. Every 10 degrees you go up in temperature cuts the reaction time in half. Every 10 degrees you go down in temperature doubles the reaction time. So this could very easily take 20 to 24 hours, and that's what I'm going to probably plan on doing is 24 hours and see if that does it. But basically what I've started off with is 30% vinegar, which is really stronger than you need, but I looked at the economics of it and it made sense to go with the 30%. The other reason is that you can always increase your concentration if you start with 30%. If you start with 5%, you really can't get more than 5%. But everybody says that 5% is what you need. And so what I did was I did the math, and I put 22 ounces of vinegar into a gallon of distilled water. That I took 22 ounces of distilled water out and then filled it back up to the line that I created with the vinegar. So, and by my math, that should give me a 5% mixture. So I've got 3 gallons of that ready to go. Let me show you what I've got for a vessel for this project. Okay, this is basically a couple of 2x4s. I cut them to length because my longest piece that I'm going to be putting in here is 5 foot. So I made my trough 66 inches so that I would be able to get to the ends and lift the part out of here. So 2x4s on the side. I went to the big box store and got a couple of 99-cent 2x4s that now are $3.74 each. That's about all I'll say about that. Cut a couple of pieces for the ends, and then I had some scrap siding that I made a bottom for it. And then this is just simply 2 mil drop cloth that is multiple layers of it. And stapled in place, and hopefully it's not going to leak. And then the actual part, this is the, I can't remember which axis it is. It's the short one. And what I did with it was I cleaned, I had some paint marks on it and some Sharpie marker on it, and I've got those cleaned off. I used a cloth soaked with carb cleaner to get the oils, most of the oils off of it. And I ran one of those down through the center of it so that I could try and get some of the oil out of the center, because you don't want to contaminate your mixture. But basically, and then I've got it sitting on some little tubes that I cut to lift it up off the bottom so that I get full contact all the way around. And so let me set this back down in here. Make sure that I'm on those tubes at both ends and I am away from the walls. And so with that, I will go ahead. Let me pause this for a second. I need to go get one more item. Okay, so let me reposition this. Okay, so basically just going to kind of swish the mixture around so that it's good and mixed. Make sure that I am off the walls. And let's start. Now, if my calculations are correct, this should take about 2.5 gallons to completely fill it. And actually, 2 gallons has it completely submersed in the mixture. Now, I'll probably want to check it after an hour or so to make sure that I don't have a leak. And the other is that I want to make sure that any air bubbles in there aren't giving me a false full reading, basically. But then what I've done is I've also set this up so that this flap, I'm trying to keep as much of the dirt out of it as I can, this flap will fold over, and the main reason I'm doing this is there are some fumes from this, and again, it's not the same degree of severity as the muriatic acid, but I don't want it to evaporate neither. I don't know that I'd have that problem with the temperature the way it is right now. But, and then what I've got is a piece of hardy cement fiber board, which is heavy. This is left over from a building project I had. And that will keep it keep it closed up. So now we wait, and I'm not going to fast forward through this. I'm just going to go ahead and shut the video off now, and I'll probably, depending on what I find when I check it before I shut the shop up tonight, I might take a video of that, but if that's not the next thing coming up, the next thing that will come up will be when I pull it out of here and hopefully all the mill scale falls off of it, and then I can put the other piece in there and figure out how I'm going to get this stuff painted and protected otherwise, and we'll get to that later in the video. I'll be right back. For you, for me, it'll probably be 24 hours. It's been almost 24 hours. So it's time to open it up and see what's happened. I'm going to learn about it the same time you all learn about it. So hopefully the vinegar has done its magic. We shall see. Oh yeah, yeah. I don't know whether you can see that or not, but basically it is just wiping right off. Okay, so let me go, oops. I'm gonna use a red just in case there's anything stubborn. But I mean, it's just kind of coming. Oh man, yeah. That mill scale is gone. What's kind of funny is that you can see where the paint had done something chemical to the mill scale, because I can read where I wrote x-axis on there. In my opinion, this has got to be the easiest and safest way to remove mill scale, because this part is just coming out looking great. It's going to provide a good surface for, there was some rust right there. Okay, so there's a little bit of rust right here that has been neutralized, but it has made some pits in the material. The good news is that this portion right here actually is on the support mechanism, so it is not seen and it is not having anything to do with the actual performance of the part. So I think we're in good shape there. Okay, and then this is just warm tap water. That I'm going to use to rinse the vinegar off, neutralize it so that there's no acids on the surface after we're done here. Okay, now the one thing I'm doing, the air doesn't reach all the way to the end, but I have these holes here for the bolts. I can stick the blow gun in there and get most of the water out of the inside. I'm not too concerned about the inside. You really want to get the outside as dry as you can. And there is the finished product. And that is ready for paint and the other treatment that we're going to put on it. So with that, I'm going to set this aside. And now it's time to put in the other one, which is the long one. It is actually the one that was made, that this trough was made to fit. And slowly lower that in there, because the air takes a little bit of time to escape. All right, and we'll let this soak for 24 hours. And so now that I know I've got a good working system here, I'm going to go ahead and let it sit for 24 hours. And again, for you, it'll just be a couple seconds. But when I get back tomorrow, I will go ahead and start. I'm not going to go ahead and videotape me. I'm going to DA probably the rest of the legs and stuff. Hey, leave a comment on this if you want to see me DA and stuff. But you've probably seen people DA stuff a lot. I don't see any point in videotaping it. But then we'll go ahead and get this painted and treated so that it can be put back together. And then, yeah. We're getting real close to having this JD's Garage's plasma table up and running. So stay tuned. Okay, so the The big one has been soaking now for about 22 hours. So let's see what we've got with it. Basically the same as we had with the one yesterday. I don't know whether you can see this or not, but basically the mill scale is just coming off with very little agitation. Okay, so I think you can see that there. It cleaned it up very nicely. I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit more Scotch-Brite on it and get it dried off, and I'll be back to prep for paint. Okay, so all the other members of this plasma table can just be painted straight away, except for the X gantry and the Y gantry. I believe this is the Y gantry. I got to get my X's and Y's figured out, but basically we want to paint them to protect them, but we don't want paint where the bearings roll on the gantry. Okay, so I think this is called the gantry. Anyway, I call this the gantry, this is the trolley. Leave a comment if I don't know what I'm talking about, that's great. So what I've done is I've set this up so that I know this is the top. I don't think I marked it, but it's the one with the big hole so you can get the socket in there because it has a short bolt that holds it in place. It has to have a short bolt, otherwise this would hit it and shorten the amount of travel that you have. So this one has a hole, it's the big hole, the socket can go through it, so I know this is the top. And then since I know this is the top, I also know that the torch head goes on this side of it. So I've got it set up here with the torch head on this side of it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some marks on it where the bearings are touching the tubing. So I'm going to do that at both ends. I'm going to speed this up because this is pretty boring. And when I come back, I'll show you what I'm going to do. All right, this is a 1/4 inch wide masking tape. Okay, this one's ready to paint. I'm going to do the same thing on the x-axis. It's got more tape because this one has 4 contact rollers and the big one has 8. So I'm going to go ahead and get it lined out, making sure that the tape lines are fairly straight. Yeah, I don't see any point in videotaping doing the other one. When I come back, I will be painting. Right, so I was in the process of editing this video and went to put the video in where I painted it and treated it, and I realized I didn't have those videos. I don't know whether it was a software failure or a hardware failure. It was most likely a brain failure on my part, in that I do not have the video on painting it and actually getting it treated. But here you can see it. I've got all the pieces painted in this industrial gray. It should be easy to touch up, keep it looking clean. And then where I taped it off, obviously there was no paint applied there. The idea there is you do not want the rollers running on paint, simply because the paint will chip, it'll ball up and get stuck to the wheels. It's just not a good idea. I obviously need to adjust that one a little bit, but at any rate, so what you do, according to JD's Garages, and it seems to work out pretty slick, is once you pull the tape off of it and have the raw bare metal there, then you use cold bluing for guns. Brush this on, took 2 coats, put a nice blue finish on it. Basically, that's an oxidation layer that shouldn't rust and will protect the surface where the wheels roll on it. It's not actually a coating. It actually treats the surface of the metal. And so therefore, it's not going to chip off, and it might wear, but it's easy enough to reapply it. So basically, with that done, the painting and protection of the members was done, and so then I've gone ahead and reassembled it. And with that, we'll call this video an end. There's a few other things that we've got to do. Obviously, spoiler alert, it does cut, but we'll have that in a future video. So thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button, leave a comment, be interested to hear what you have to say. If you're building one of JD's Garage's CNC plasma table, I'd like to hear from you. If you've done something different, let me know. If I've helped you out in any way, let me know. Hit that like button and hit the notification bell. Obviously, I do have more videos in the can that I need to post-production work on, and I'll be getting those out soon. I think I've got 2 more videos on the JD's Garages, and then I'll be basically done with it. Of course, it'll be showing up from time to time on other projects. But for now, again, thanks for watching, and Chopper Bob out.